Hundreds of schools were closed Monday across Oklahoma and Kentucky. Thousands of teachers walked out of classrooms to rally at state capitals. They're demanding higher pay and increased funding for their students. The strikes follow a growing trend of teacher walkouts across the country. Omar Villafranca is in Oklahoma City.
Whose house is this? Whose house?
An estimated 36,000 Oklahoma teachers walked out of class today and marched to the state capitol, vowing to fight for better wages and more funding for their classrooms.
Funding education should not be historical.
15-year-old Hope Davis brought one of her textbooks for show and tell, a tattered 12-year-old history book held together by masking tape.
Do you want to stay here? If you had your choice, would you go back elsewhere?
If I had a choice, I definitely would go back to Texas.
Oklahoma teachers rank 49th in pay and haven't received a raise in more than a decade. For weeks, teachers threatened to walk out unless lawmakers raised their pay by $10,000. Last week, the legislature passed a tax hike to increase teacher pay by an average of $6,100. Under the new law, new Oklahoma teachers will have to work 8 years to reach a $40,000 a year salary. It currently takes 20 years to reach the $40,000 a year level.
I mean, we've had teachers leaving for years, and now it's getting so bad the kids want to leave too.
Brian Davis is a teacher in Bartlesville who earns extra cash as a pitching coach and driving an Uber. He earns under $42,000, so a raise will help, but he says the raise may not be enough to help starting teachers make a living.
I have 2 daughters. I think one of them would like to be a teacher, but I told her, if you do go into education, be ready to not be in Oklahoma.
There is another rally planned for Tuesday morning here at the state capitol, and teachers from Oklahoma City and Tulsa, the state's 2 largest districts, say they will be here. Deborah?
Omar, Oklahoma has cut taxes twice since teachers were last given a raise over a decade ago. That means less money coming in. What would the state have to do in order to generate enough money to give teachers the pay increase that they're asking for?
Well, one thing that Governor Mary Fallin, she put out a statement this afternoon saying that they've got to also fund other parts of the state. And in order, she said, corrections and health and human services. There'd have to be some sort of taking away from those departments to keep funding education. Another thing would be to basically make oil and gas revenue start picking up here. If the price of oil and gas went up, production would pick up here in the state. And if there's a tax here on the revenue of that, it's been pushed up, I believe, to 5%. If the oil and gas companies are making more money, the state will have more money in their coffers for education, or at this point, a money tree. But that's not going to happen. So at this point, people are trying to find out what exactly it's going to take to get more money. We haven't heard of any lawmakers here ready to push another bill through the state Senate or the state House. So we're going to have to see what happens.
And Kentucky's rally, which you mentioned, is being led by the state's teachers union. But this Oklahoma strike, on the other hand, is being organized in a much less traditional fashion. How is that?
There is a teachers coalition group, the OEA, which is leading people here, and they were here present. But there was also a group in the northeast corner of the state that, frankly, they told me they were fed up and disgusted with the leadership of OEA because they're saying they have not really been effective in getting them higher teacher pay. So this group, which does have members from OEA, has organized themselves online on social media, and they're coming down here as well. The big question, of course, that everybody's asking is, are these 2 groups going to come together, and for how long? How long do they plan these walkouts? That is the million-dollar question.
Exactly. And how do you negotiate if you've got 2 different groups who may be looking at the different things? How much did the 9-day strike in West Virginia lay the groundwork for teachers considering striking in other states?
It gave them faith here. It really, put a fire under them and realized that they could possibly do it. But keep in mind, in West Virginia, they were out for 9 days before the legislature reached an agreement. Oklahoma here, they had basically set the date for April 2nd, and the legislature passed some sort of measure. Now, the teachers didn't get everything they were asking for. They wanted $10,000 pay raise. They wanted $200 million restored over 3 years, and they wanted a $5,000 raise for support staff. They didn't get everything that they wanted, but they got something. So the question is now that they have something from the state house, are they going to keep this going, or are they going to wait to come back later, or are they going to shut schools down to see if they can get everything that they wanted in this session? Again, the million-dollar question. Another rally is planned for tomorrow. We know that several districts have basically canceled school for the rest of the week, but other schools are going back to classes tomorrow.
Omar Villafranca in Oklahoma City, thank you.